Hi, I'm Matt Rosu, and welcome to this course on game theory. Dropping videos all semester long as I teach game theory at Susquehanna University. You can follow along for free. This is a video where we're talking bargaining. If you've missed the previous videos, you can check those out in the description. In this video, we will be discussing a little bit about the importance of alternatives and how that impacts the solution you expect in a bargained agreement. First, taking a step back, two key traits of bargaining. One, the total payoff that can be achieved has to be greater than what can be achieved outside of the bargained agreement in order to have a solution. If this wasn't the case, no solution is possible under a voluntary agreement. We refer to this as the BATNA, the best alternative to the negotiated agreement, and the BATNAs will be very important in determining the outcomes in equilibrium of a bargained agreement. Second, very related point, bargaining is not a zero-sum game. A bargained solution, almost by definition, must improve everybody relative to a solution that is not reached, to not coming to a particular agreement. John Nash, Nash equilibrium fame, found a general solution to the bargaining problem. Three principles had to hold. One is scales couldn't change. Second one, the outcome had to be efficient. Third, if irrelevant possibilities are eliminated, the outcome should not be affected. These were the mathematical principles. And then from this, John Nash was able to find what the solution would be to a bargained game. So our cooperative solution, we've actually got an equation for this. So y minus b over x minus a equals k over h. This would be the a and the b are the BATNAs for the players. Y and the x are the amounts of players each player ends up with after the bargain solution. And k divided by h is the share of the surplus gained through bargaining. I'm guessing this equation for most people will look pretty foreign and not mean much. A graph will help. So here's everything in graphical form. So the line for x plus y equals v, that indicates the bargained solution opportunity. So if you reach a bargained solution, there is a greater total payout. Otherwise, a solution can't happen, right? There has to be more available when you reach a solution, and then it determines how it's split. This x plus y equals v line shows, okay, the total amount if a bargain solution is reached. And the x plus y indicates it's going to be split between one of the two players. Here, this point P, where players A and B would be in their initial outcomes should they not reach a bargained solution. And therefore, we know if there's a bargain solution, it's going to be up in this range here for players A and player B. But how is it split, right? If all of the surplus goes to our first, player one, they'd go from A all the way over here. But then, of course, the other player really doesn't have much of an incentive to make a deal. Vice versa, if all of the incentive goes to player two, player one gets nothing. But it'll be somewhere in between, and our equation shows the intersection of the x plus y equals v line, and Q would indeed be the expected outcome from this bargained solution. A key thing to note, there are a range of solutions that would make both parties better off, but the shares of the surplus depends enormously on the outcomes players would get without bargaining, the BATNA, and along with the total amount of surplus available. So the bargained outcome, the alternative each party has to the negotiated agreement, is truly crucial. There are several insights we can gain about variable threat bargaining based on Nash's solution, which in many ways I think these 3 points are more important for 99.9% of people than knowing that exact equation. The points might seem obvious once we hear them, but they definitely are important. So if you're in a bargaining situation, if you can increase your alternative to the negotiated agreement, the Nash solution gives you a better outcome. And that makes sense, right? If you have an alternative that's very strong and your opponent has one that's pretty weak, when you bargain, you should get more. Because if you both walk away, you do great. The counterpart you're bargaining with, not so much. So to the extent you can strengthen your outside position, puts you in a really good spot. The second one here, if you can reduce the other player's best alternative to the negotiated agreement, the Nash solution would lead to a better outcome for you. So this is an interesting one, right? Are there ways to sabotage the other individual? A third insight we get from Nash's solution. Sometimes it might make sense to reduce your own alternatives to the negotiated agreement if it also reduces your opponent's, but it reduces your opponent's by more. So if there's a bargained outcome that seems very strong, it might make sense to do something that harms you, but harms your opponents more. We could think about strikes and lockouts in this regard. A strike where workers decide not to work to seek higher wages, or a lockout where a firm will shut out workers in order to renegotiate a contract. Both of those are really bad for the firm operating and for the workers, right? No revenue coming in for the firms, or no production, and no income for the workers. Those are both very bad. Strategically, it might make sense for one side or the other to do this. If you can harm the other person more, you might get a better negotiated agreement. Hope you enjoyed this video discussing Nash's solution and best alternative to the negotiated agreement. This is part of my game theory course. There will be more on bargaining coming up and on other topics, so please like and subscribe. Go ahead and share with friends if you have anybody who might like this. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.